Hey, before we start, it's Equipment Staff Appreciation Week, so I just want to shout out Hunter Newsom, Parks Johnson, D, Janoris, and all those other guys that put in a lot of work for us throughout the week, and they're members of our team, so we wouldn't be able to do it without them. Just want to shout those guys out.
Seth, I know it was a struggle to start the game offensively, but as the game went on, you guys continued to push through. What was the message in those huddles on the sidelines you guys were going through this game?
I mean, just weather the storm. We started slow, and then things picked up in the second quarter, and then we just needed to try and sustain drives. The main thing was just getting ourselves behind the sticks. Holding. I took some sacks. That was the nature of the game. We made plays when we needed to, I guess you could say, but just consistency going into next week and going into further weeks as an offense. We just need to be more consistent.
What made this so difficult for you guys? It seemed like North Texas didn't let you guys get the deep ball going as much as you wanted. Was that a big issue, or what do you think was the main concern why you guys struggled a little bit on offense?
Yeah, I mean, they just played well. They had some nice schemes. They did things differently than they showed in the film, and that's kind of been the nature of our season as well. Every single team we've gone against, they've shown something different than on the film to a certain extent. Deeper into the game, defensive coordinators kind of get back to their base stuff and what they think works. So he got back to that later on during the fourth quarter and late in the third quarter. But they played some interesting coverages, and they messed with my eyes. And twist games up front, Bear up front. They played pretty well.
I know the coaches, they try to limit the number of times you get hit in a game. It seemed like you had a couple design runs around the corner. So how do you go about calling that? It sounded like there was an audible, you saw something that you did that. When do you determine that when you run?
Normally they just call it. If I'm audible, it's normally to a cover zero look or something like that, and we're going to throw it. But sometimes there's run checks, and if they're a pull, they're a pull. It just depends on the week, I guess I would say. But I just need to stay on my feet a little bit more, not slide, you feel me? But our run game got it going toward the end of the game, so hopefully that's a positive going into the next game and continuing on.
There's going to be some games where, the offense has got it going really well or the defense has got it going really well. How comfortable is it to know that, when the offense does start slow, you had a defense who's able to play like they did today?
Yeah, it's just a testament to our guys and Coach Barnes. They put the team on our back, and I thought our special teams played pretty well today as well. Our punter was pinning them deep multiple times, but as an offense, we just got to keep them off the field more because, they're out there the majority of the game, and we can't do that. They'll get gassed. So we just need to sustain drives. We can't go 3 and out as much and just execute better, not take sacks.
Even though you struggled today offensively a little bit, probably one of the more balanced offensive performances. How important was you had 9 different receivers? How important is that? How does that help you in a game to have you don't have to rely on just one guy?
Yeah, that's kind of been consistent, I would say, throughout this season. We've kind of spread the ball around. Kobe Drake got a couple touches today during one of our drives. I think those are his first catches. John Hassel had his first catch from the tight end position. He's a 6th-year senior. Guys are just stepping up, and when we put them in a position to make a play, they just have to make the play for us. And then, like we said, didn't really get the deep ball going today. So we got to find a way to, scheme up whatever defenses that we're seeing to try and get a couple of those shots and get completions on those, But it's good to have those guys and multiple receivers to get the ball to.
How did you handle this? Just you had these long stretches where, whether it was the beginning of the game, the third quarter, where nothing was really working, and it wasn't just you. It seemed like it was the whole offense. How did you handle all this? You could say as you look back on how you led the offense.
It was me as well. The whole offense, like Coach Silverfield just said, it might have been one person per play, but I was definitely in the mix. So I got to get those wrinkles out of my game to help us be more successful. But those long stretches of not having success, you just kind of take it on the chin and keep going. They had dudes subbing off the field, and then we had a motion call, and all of a sudden we're getting booed. Like, come on. That's just how I feel.
That moment it seemed like that was like a a moment that could have backfired on the team because you took a sack, you had a chance
Yeah.
to maybe drop.
I mean,
but there was more to it than that.
There's more to it. People don't know that, but it's whatever.
If you could speak more on that, you mentioned the boos a little bit. How tough was it? Because obviously last week the crowd was there for it, but when you hear that, how do you guys just try to say, hey, we got to keep pushing past it, because that's not something you guys usually hear a lot?
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, it's not something we usually hear a lot. So that's all I have to say about that.
But looking ahead to next week, obviously Temple is a game that last year was a struggle for you guys. You obviously got that big lead and they came back. Is it for you guys? Do you see, now that you focus on this game, do you see this game as a chance to maybe kind of put that behind you a little bit and, open conference play with a strong start?
Yeah, I mean, we just had to set the tone early. Last year was last year, 3 fumbles, but it's a different year, so different team. We have new players, they have new players, so we just need to go into this week, go into tomorrow, start watching the film, get ready to scheme them up.
Does that linger in your mind a little bit? I know it's last year, but does that kind of linger because obviously the fumbles were something that kind of made that game a little bit tougher?
And not for me, maybe other people on the team, but I don't even remember that, to be honest, besides the fumbles.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.